Trump just wrapped up a speech at the White House, and we will get to kind of fun-ish moments where he just doesn't seem to know what he's talking about, which is our version of fun now whenever the U.S. president is having a difficult time thinking. But I think more consequentially, he's decided to just panic quit on a major part of his agenda, which is that now he's trying to say to us, like we're the ones who need this explained to us, that, hey, maybe it's not the best idea to just run through communities and grab up whoever you can with no regard for much of anything. And I'll get to the speech, but we covered on the morning show an indication of this, and then he expands on it. It's funny to hear him explaining, I think it might be a bad idea, some of the raids we're doing. No, we said that. What? Why, Luke? Why don't you want? Why are you wanting all these raids to happen? What? So he posted, our great farmers and people in the hotel and leisure business have been stating that our very aggressive policy on immigration is taking very good long-time workers away from them, with those jobs being almost impossible to replace. In many cases, the criminals allowed into our country by the very stupid Biden open borders policy are applying for those jobs. This is not good. We must protect our farmers, but get the criminals out of the USA. Changes are coming. So that's been what people are saying, which is if you have criminals and they're not legally in the country, those should be prioritized for deportation. That's where the resources should go. Obviously, he'll lie about Biden's policy, but that's where the resources should go. You shouldn't be wasting resources and ripping communities apart on something that obviously you shouldn't ideally be in the country illegally, of course. But you have individuals who are just working, law-abiding, other than that, and who the wasting of resources and the chaos that's created by some of these raids is actually more harmful than its benefit. Some people who have been in the country for quite some time. Now, Trump is hearing from, I guess, business leaders or farmers who are seeing the economic harm of that and is now saying that post and what you're going to see in this video, to which I'm already seeing some MAGAs very upset because in their mind, they're thinking just whoever, even if they're a U.S., I'm laughing only because it's so tragic, a U.S. citizen, I don't know, just grab up anybody, as we've been seeing.
Peter?
Thank you, President Trump. I have two. First, on immigration. What made you change your mind about targeting in California farmers and people in the hotel and leisure business?
Well, we're not targeting. In fact, if you look today, I put out a statement today about farmers. Our farmers are being hurt badly by, they have very good workers. They've worked for them for 20 years. They're not citizens, but they've turned out to be, great. And we're going to have to do something about that. We can't take farmers and take all their people and send them back because they don't have maybe what they're supposed to have, maybe not. And you know what's going to happen and what is happening? They get rid of some of the people because, you go into a farm and you look and people they've been there for 20, 25 years and they've worked great and the owner of the farm loves them and everything else. And then you're supposed to throw them out. And you know what happens?
No, you are. Stop saying you. Not you. Not you. It's so bizarre. MAGA's not going to like this. So he's just Control Alt Delete, just quitting on his whole thing of everybody. He's been saying everybody. His MAGAs have been saying everybody. Now he's going, what if you prioritize people who we wouldn't want in the country, people who have some criminal record, who've done something bad, and then you acknowledge, while in an ideal world, there would only be lawful immigration for folks who have been productively a part of a community, who are intertwined, who are law-abiding, other than their immigration status, that there should be some path for them to legal status. Maybe they have to pay a fine. Maybe they're definitely not going to be, front of the line if compared to people who have gone about it legally. But there should be some solution there that isn't just ripping mass gobs of people out of communities, that is bad for those individuals and economically destabilizing.
They end up hiring the people, the criminals that have come in, the murderers from prisons and everything else. So we're going to have an order on that pretty soon, I think. We can't do that to our farmers and leisure too, hotels. We're going to have to use a lot of common sense on that.
And my other question question about the Middle East. As
I am proudly announcing today and signing an executive order to stop the needless targeting of people at their workplace. Just to artificially juice up numbers. The Biden administration, I am stopping Biden. Because of Joe Biden's decline, this happened. It's so similar to his trade policy. The thing is, you remember that clip of him going, tariffs just got so high on China. And I was like, why are they so high? Let's lower them. And so I'm very bravely announcing a deal where we lowered them. You're the one who raised them. What are you talking? I said, this was his wording. I said, how'd they get so high? You raised them there? So a similar thing here. Maybe we shouldn't be so concerned with just juicing up artificially the numbers, no matter the human cost and no matter the disregard for just all people that we're seeing. Random people are just being profiled and grabbed and then they realize they made a mistake and don't apologize for it. And the ripping of people out of the communities who are productive and who are doing everything right, aside from one little thing. And we should only prioritize folks who we actually wouldn't want in the United States. And maybe we should have immigration reform for the other people. He's just articulating what we've been screaming at him. Will he actually do this? We'll see, because a lot of his administration members are not going to want that shift in policy. So we're not crediting him. It's just hopefully there is a shift, and that would be the correct decision. But the way he's sort of, you see these raids happening, and it's just so weird how that happens. It's not good for the business, it's not good for the person, it's not really making communities safer, it's actually making people feel more afraid, immigrants and non-immigrants, to just be in their community, and it's a waste of resources and it hurts productivity. And why is the president doing that? You are. All right, now to the brain portions. What's going on with the brain?
A brain.
Oh, I forgot we had that. It's like always a little Christmas present whenever he has a soundbite I forgot we had. While we go through this, please do click the subscribe button if you appreciate the show. It's free. Here's Trump again recounting the debate over his phone call with Gavin Newsom, and he doesn't know even a little bit of the details.
All red. But now you have to...
What's that noise?
You have to...
What?
But now...
What?
But now you have to...
What is...
But now...
What?
But now...
Huh. I would love if that would happen every time he's being dishonest. Sorry, I will play the clip. But I think that would be a really just sort of God's way to do, instead of Pinocchio, the nose, whenever someone's lying, they just have to go, because then we would know that they're lying. I won the 2020 election so bigly. I had the biggest inauguration that we've ever seen. The economy is going to do so well under me.
But now you have to... I always got along with Gavin. I like Gavin. I've liked him, always. He said I never called him. They asked him a question on Fox, I guess. I never spoke to him. He doesn't remember the call. He doesn't remember. I never spoke. And then I produced a phone call. I had it. It took me about 2 minutes. I said, well, here's the call. It lasted 16 minutes and 4 seconds, and it was at 12:30 in the evening. I actually made a call, didn't pick up. I called him a second time, and he picked up. And I told him, I said, you have to get your ass in gear because you're going to have a problem there.
What? He's going to put on... He's not Kristi Noem. He's not going to go put on a full ICE uniform. All right, let's just check. Is Trump telling the truth about this phone call?
But now...
No. I called Gavin yesterday. So he says that Newsom said Trump never called him. No, you said you called yesterday. back when this was. And Newsom said that call never happened. It was days ago. And then Trump says, I guess Newsom went on Fox News and said, I never talked with Trump. Newsom wasn't on Fox News. He tweeted it. Like, what? There's just no nothing's being properly interpreted in Trump's brain. So I think he's both willing to be dishonest, and I actually believe that he thinks he's being proven right. He posted call logs that prove Newsom right about when the call happened. And then Trump, again, Asen posted this clip and said, he said, I never called him. They asked him a question on Fox and then put a bunch of question marks next to it because that's not what happened. Newsom wasn't on Fox. It's just inventions of his mind. And then he makes another claim that is just an invention of his mind or detachment from the world.
We won with workers. We won with young people.
Nope.
I just saw with TikTok, I was number one on TikTok in its history. Can you believe that?
This is TikTok.
I guess I like TikTok. That's why they're saying, are you saving? And we probably will save TikTok, actually.
So the two claims there are that he won the youth vote. He didn't. He won male youth voters. He did not win the youth vote. And he won male youth voters by a narrow margin, which is notable, but not what he claimed. And then he said he was the biggest on TikTok ever. Have you met the D'Amelios? No, there's no chance he was the biggest on TikTok ever. So what should have happened is he should have said, I won the young voters and I was the biggest ever on TikTok. That should have been the way he articulated that with our new rule about lying. And then he's trying to talk about charging stations for electric vehicles. Listen to the syntax and how he tries to articulate this, because he's just wandering and saying a bunch of terms that don't apply.
And countrywide, you'd have to spend $4 trillion to build the firing plants, they go to firing, they call them a lot of things, charging plants, firing plants. $4 trillion.
Take that down. Firing plants? Firing plant. What? Show this, Jaden. Here's what comes up when you look up firing plant. It's actual coal-fired power station. Okay.
Clean, beautiful coal.
But he's trying to articulate about charging stations.
$4 trillion to build the firing plants, they go to firing, they call them a lot of things, charging plants, firing plants. $4 trillion you'd have to spend. In the Midwest, they built 9 of them. 9 individual, it's like a pump, just like a pump. Except
See, he's talking about charging stations, not plants of any kind.
9 individual, it's like a pump, just like a pump, except instead of gas, electricity comes out. They spent,
Thanks.
Actually, they built 8 of them. $9 billion they spent for 8. 8 little hoses, $9 billion. Now, I'm sure they could have done it for about, 1/1000th of that, but even if they did, it's...
Okay, so if you're following, then I'm proud of you, because I'm not following that at all. Then he keeps saying this. It's so disturbing. He's just floating in an abyss of his own imagination.
But he knows. Los Angeles would be right now burning to the ground, just like the houses burned to the ground. It's so sad what's going on in Los Angeles. Think of it. They had a fire that should have never had because they should have listened to me in the water. Eventually, we broke in and we had the water come down from the Pacific Northwest. I could show you pictures now with the half pipes, the big half pipes coming all the way down California.
You forced the release of water into the wrong place that did nothing. It just wasted it. It didn't even get anywhere close to where the fires had been happening, and they had been already gotten under control by the time you did that. And the water didn't even go where it would need to go. I love how no matter what it is, the Ukraine war never would have happened. October 7th never would have happened. The wildfires never would have happened. Really? It could be the case that the U.S. president could have impacted those two conflicts. A wildfire? Because I would have released the water. And then he did do the release that he was talking about, and it didn't even go to L.A. Now, you might remember the Secretary of Education, McMahon, Linda McMahon of WWE fame. She was at an event and she started talking about how with A1, the world's changing and we have to incorporate into our education A1. And so a lot of people said, A1 sauce? What? Is that steak sauce? Like barbecue sauce? Yeah, A1 sauce. We know. Come on. And then we realized, oh, she was talking about AI and she was calling it A1. And so she spoke to this viral moment in a recent interview and it did not help her case at all.
There was some discussion on the internet when you seemed to confuse A1 and AI. I'd love for you to just briefly speak to what happened there.
Oh, that was so funny. I was at and it was embarrassing. Yeah. I was at a robotic competition. And I mean, it had been, touring all day and we've been talking about AI every place we went. And I'd been speaking about AI, how great it was going to be
What is it?
Introduced more and more into education systems. And I was in this big room and across the whole back of the room was AI, but the I looked like a 1, and I just glanced up and said A1, and of course then that just made national news. I actually, you might find this very amusing. I was actually received a little box with 2 bottles of A1 steak sauce.
Kind of them.
But it was just a slip of the tongue. I don't think I've said it since, though it's been brought up to me many times, and my grandchildren said, Gaga, I mean, really?
Gaga. That's cute. Gaga. Linda A1. Let's see if we believe her explanation from the original video here.
I heard, I think it was a letter or a report that I heard this morning. I wish I could remember the source, but that there is a school system that's going to start making sure that first graders or even pre-Ks have A1 teaching, every year starting, that far down in the grades. And that's a wonderful thing. Kids are sponges. They just absorb everything, and so
if you just spill steak sauce on them, they'll just absorb it. It's really cool.
Kids are sponges. They just absorb everything, and so it wasn't all that long ago that we're going to have internet in our schools. Woo! Now, okay, let's see A1 and how can that be helpful? How can it be helpful in one-on-one instruction?
So a slip of the tongue that happened twice, Linda? Now, what's really funny is, let me play this muted. Watch the people she's talking to as she's saying this. She says A1, which means nothing to any of us. A1. If someone said that to you, and they're just nodding along. Yeah. Wow. Totally. Absolutely. What are you nodding to? What are you nodding about? And the reason it's concerning is not because we just mock this aggressively slip-ups. I've had slip-ups. It's that the education secretary, given how relevant artificial intelligence is to the future and present of education, the future of the world, that's not really like a slip-up that happens. I guess I'm trying to give her a bit of a shot. Could it? A1. No, because what would the ones like AI? You're thinking artificial intelligence. So the fact that she would have a slip-up that obviously she didn't know what it was, maybe also given her background not really being in education and being in wrestling. Well, she ran a successful business. Okay. Is the concerning part. And with the unqualified people in the administration and Trump up there talking about firing plants that you plug a hose into Tesla.
I love Tesla.
It's concerning given the real world conflicts that are taking place. The New York Times reports Israel appears ready to attack Iran, officials in U.S. and Europe say. Concern about a strike and the prospect of retaliation led the United States to withdraw diplomats from Iraq and authorize the voluntary departure of U.S. military family members from the Middle East. People were leaving, U.S. officials leaving Iran or preparing to do so, indicating that there is an expectation for some wild escalation of conflict. I really hope this doesn't happen, and I don't feel great having Trump in the White House to deal with these circumstances, especially as he was promising some sort of peace nuclear deal with Iran. Scary, scary world. Share your thoughts in the comments.